Now, I don't want to overuse the term dead or dying in my videos. It becomes a little cliche when you say it all of the time, but the term dead on arrival is all too relevant sometimes. And today, well, you can make up your own mind about how much it applies. But there's a brief backstory here. So 4 or 5 days ago, I released a video titled, "Is Hyperscape Worth Your Time?" I got it out on day 1 of the full release to help people out, and by the end of the second day, it had amassed over 100,000 views, and so I thought, there's a bit of promise here maybe. Let's try a follow-up video. So I ranked all of the guns from worst to best, usually a very safe bet for a video when a game had just come out, and I didn't expect the same level of interest again because that's really how it works, but still I thought, this will do alright. But then after an hour of the video being up, it had only around 400 views, and it's turned out to be one of my worst performing videos in a very long time, so bad it may end up being unlisted if this continues, and so this left me surprised, and thus began my research to see if interest in this game had already totally nosedived. The findings were not pretty, and so today I'm going to present to you those very findings. Hyperscape has some serious work to do. Videos such as this are powered by the Board of Awesome thanks to these epic people who support the channel on Patreon. Also, our current subscriber target is 60k, currently having just passed 50k, so if you're new or want to see more content from me, hitting that subscribe button would be awesome. Thank you very much. This isn't really a fun video for me to make as I actually really like Hyperscape. Let's go over the reasons I can think of why Hyperscape is having a really troubling launch period. And then once we're done with that, we'll go over all of the evidence and numbers I've found that paint that picture. And let me know what you think in the comments below about Hyperscape at this point. So one of the most common complaints about the game so far has actually been that people can't play it. Seemingly, Hyperscape has released with an absolute abundance of error codes that have stopped a massive amount of players from being able to experience the game. This has gone on for days now. Going hand in hand with not being able to play the game is not being able to find the game. Most people assume that Hyperscape is spelled as all one word, or the majority of people at least, which I also think is better, but it's not. It's 2 words, Hyperscape. Here's a Google Trends chart that shows more people are actually searching for the wrong name than the one Ubisoft Montreal chose. One of the major implications of this was when you search for Hyperscape on day 1 as all one word on Xbox, it apparently didn't bring the game up. Something they've since changed, I believe, as it did work when I checked for this video, but I had loads of people in my comment section and elsewhere saying they couldn't find the game in the Xbox store on release day due to this issue. No idea if that happened on other platforms as well. You can let me know in the comments if you like. It may also count against the game that it's not on Steam, who knows, but what I do know about is the multitude of complaints many players have right now when they do actually play the game. Now let me stress that most of these aren't my complaints. I thoroughly enjoy the game, but I'm just one person and that doesn't keep a game afloat. So many players, especially on console, have complained about Twitchy Controls. The default settings don't feel good to most players, and some say even editing their settings leaves them with aiming that just doesn't feel good. In conjunction with that is players saying there seems to be very minimal aim assist, which again, especially on console, is a huge challenge for many players. If you've never tried playing with thumbsticks with very minimal or no aim assist, it's extremely hard. And it's part of why the semi-auto weapons aren't being used anywhere near as much as the spammable full auto ones right now, which doesn't help another problem of people saying the weapons aren't particularly well balanced. Add on to all of this the pretty long time to kill in terms of the amounts of bullets needed, with the crazy movement mechanics, and you essentially have a lot of players simply unable to pick up many kills, which just isn't going to be fun for them. So that also leads to some players saying the game is super sweaty and try hard, with only talented FPS players able to succeed, and this is despite some mechanics that I think are fairly casual friendly. This would all seem like enough problems already, but in the interest of fully covering the story, I'll tell you that there's more. So there's also that a lot of people aren't enjoying the crown rush mechanic, where basically at the end of the crown rush game, a crown spawns, and if you hold it for 45 seconds, you win. Unfortunately, this is basically cheatable by using abilities that mean you can't be hurt, plus the game released without crossplay being active yet. Throw on top of all this the near total lack of hype. I saw people saying they didn't even know the game was coming out that day. In fact, I didn't even know it was coming out that day until I googled upcoming games while doing research for video subjects. Everything about the game went really quiet for quite a while at a point during the beta being out, all the way until release. Now that is a lot of reasons for a game to struggle, too many many reasons. So what did my research turn up that supports the idea that the game is now actually in trouble? Well, let's start with the Twitch viewership, shall we? By day 3, when I checked, Hyperscape was down to around 8,000 viewers on Twitch, with the top streamer in the directory having around 1,100 viewers, and that was apparently a sponsored stream. This is on day 3 of the full release. Then if we look here at this chart from hypetrack.com, we can see that viewership really did start to tank during the beta, and now at full release, it's some way lower than the high point of the beta, and is already dropping to worryingly low levels. Now it may well jump up and down a bit during the day, of course. The 8,000 viewers were only when I checked, but the trend of the graph can't be argued with. That tells the story without bias or error. So I thought, well, okay, maybe it will be doing alright on YouTube. Maybe it's being streamed there. But no, it didn't even make the list for the top live games, meaning it couldn't even manage 3k viewers to push Standoff 2 or Euro Truck Simulator 2 off the bottom of the list. So I thought, let's try searching Hyperscape livestream. That turned up 2 streams at the top and then just videos below them, and those streams had 56 watching and 8 watching. And that's no shade on these streamers at all, by the way. I'm just saying that this is all that was available. It's as if the game just barely even happened. My next attempt to find some hope was just to search Hyperscape on YouTube for videos to see if anything was popping off, but it wasn't. My video at that time was still 5th, and above it had 3 recent videos and one from Tfue from a month ago, and below it was pretty much just videos from 3 or 4 weeks back, if not more, or recent videos without many views on them for a game that's just come out. This hints not only at a lack of viewership, but a lack of large-scale content creators covering the game, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch, which is an awful sign at this stage. I can also tell you that views on my review were coming from mainly YouTube search. By day 3, they were gone, down to almost nothing, and browsing views were near non-existent for both that video and the total flop one that followed. In fact, that second video that went on to flop was actually pulling more than a third of its views from YouTube searches, which is really high for my videos, but that actually shows just how low the interest was. It didn't matter if it was via searching or browsing. Again, the game just disappeared off everyone's radar. It seemingly just had too many problems, coupled with too little advertising to be able to launch with a bang, not even a small bang. And do you remember the Google Trends image I showed you earlier? Well, if we look more closely at it, we can see that the amount of searches for Hyperscape were way higher before than if we look at now during its release. It's flopping. That's the only way to put it right now. It's flopping. And I hate that, because this game is so fun for me, and I think it has real potential, but they've just made too many errors early on. The only saving grace I can think of is that this is developed and produced by Ubisoft, who now have somewhat of a history of supporting games, at least in recent times, turning them around and looking at the long-term picture, having previously turned around Rainbow Six Siege, for example, and such like. I truly hope they can do something fantastic here and get this game going, but I don't know. It's a tough road back already. I'll just be keeping my fingers crossed. And that is my coverage of the saddening release of Hyperscape. Let me know what you think of it so far, and I hope you enjoyed or found this video interesting. If you did, leaving a like is really important. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content from me, and all the links to my social media, including Twitter, I post a lot, Patreon, all that sort of stuff, is in the description and my pinned comment. And with all that said, I am GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters. This one is a little underappreciated right now as well, I feel, mainly because it kinda sucks at close range, but at longer ranges it does more damage. But then most people think, well, at long range the enemy is gonna move. This is Hyperscape,